Hey guys, I'm Nikki and I'm an ActorHolic.
Are y'all ready for this?
My name is Zerick Dion Williams, and I'm your host of I'm an ActorHolic podcast. And, basically what I do is I get the opinions and, the insights and views from fellow actors, directors, producers about this here industry that we are involved in. And, try to make sure that people seeking this career can have a leg to stand on. And so, without further ado, I have a wonderful, wonderful, talented actress on the live with me. She's an actress, and correct me if I'm wrong, model. She's an advocate, and probably a writer and director and producer too, but
I just want to see how far it goes. I like it. It's all a lot of great things.
so y'all put your hands together for Nikki Lashae, guys.
Thank you for that wonderful intro. But yes, I'm an actress and filmmaker. I did used to model and dance, and because I use my art for advocacy, it blends together. Yeah.
Mississippi girl, right? How long have you been on the Pacific Coast?
2018. So it's been 5 years. I would travel a lot before that, doing some spokesmodeling and some other, mainly spokesmodeling work that would take me all over the nation. And then I decided to get a space here in 2018.
Okay. Now, were you pursuing acting prior to moving to?
Yeah, I got my start in Atlanta, Georgia. So I got my first everything in Atlanta, Georgia. And when I felt like I just needed more room to grow, I went to Chicago to feel it out because I do stage. So I knew that I could work there. And then I went to LA, and LA just made me feel grounded and good. And so that's what I chose.
Yeah, that's one of my questions. So what's the difference in being on the Pacific Coast versus the East Coast?
Man, the whole energy of the city is different. I'm a Southern girl. I'm originally from Mississippi. I was raised in Atlanta, so I'm always going to be a Southern girl. I'm always going to prefer the South. Mm-hmm. But I would say, LA is it's an old place. And Atlanta's rather new. So you feel the newness of Atlanta. You feel the freshness of it in every way. And you definitely feel that in the industry. It's so exciting. It's so new. Everybody's flooding Atlanta to be a part of this very new and alive energy, because everybody has the chance to kind of embed themselves in what Atlanta is constructing as its foundation. Mm-hmm. But Los Angeles, as New York, is so old. It's the roots of the industry, and it feels like that. So maybe some ideas are very antiquated, and some ideas are antiquated, and some things are very amazing, as far as standard and structure, for creation. And I feel the main difference that I care about is the level that you play on. And so I think it's important for everybody to realize that this is a global art form. It's bigger than your city, and so when you create, you always want to think about how do you connect with the world. And I would say LA, that's the standard. It's global impact, global thinking. There's pros and cons of every city. That's the truth. I mean, it hasn't always been pretty in Los Angeles, but just like you take you wherever you go. You have to make sure that you know what you want, you know who you are, and that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think there are advantages to going to a bigger city, but it is saturated. But this industry is saturated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think, it's about your passion. It's about your dream. It's about your heart, and I think that's where you got to follow.
Exactly. How do you feel about competition? Does that mean anything to you? Or, some people are like, why didn't I book this particular role? Blah blah blah. You worried about the next person. Is there such thing to you as competition, or it's just how you present your story?
Yeah, I think that there's if people want to latch onto the word of competition, I think that there can be healthy competition, but it should be internal. It should always be, I'm sure everybody's heard this before, but it's really yourself. It's really about challenging yourself to make sure that every day is complete. Like did you put forth your best effort? I know I have lists, I have a year list, I have a month list, I have a daily list, and I have questions that I see every time I walk out the door. And what that does is that helps me tune into myself in a way that I show up for myself completely every day. And there are some days where I fall short, and then that's when I feel compelled to challenge myself to compete with that version of myself for a better me. I think that time we make competition outside of ourselves, we do ourselves a great disservice. And another thing, like we don't, for instance, when it comes to Black people, we don't own enough of the landscape to compete against each other. I think it's a very weird thing to
Mm,
even set up competition amongst each other.
right.
I think that the right mindset is to realize that there's more than enough. If you have an abundant mindset, I feel like more comes to you. But if you have a lack mindset where you feel like you have to compete with somebody else, to get one thing, so there's enough for you. I'm gonna always claim that there's always more than enough for me.
Right.
And yeah, so that's pretty much. I don't look at competition as anything outside. It's if anything, it's inside. But I try to stay focused on growth. Like how can I
I love that.
grow?
I
You
love that.
know.
Yeah, I love that. Who do people say you look like?
Ha! I used to get Dawn from Danity Kane. I used to get that, and I don't know. I don't know. I've got a couple like other
Well,
ones, but it didn't make sense to me.
the wife on the Bernie Mac show.
Oh,
Kalita,
really? I think is it Kalita?
Kalita Smith.
She's stunning. That's a compliment. Hey, Kalita, shout out, girl. Hey.
So, being in LA, what have you learned as an actor, and like what would you tell your younger self seeking this industry?
It's like a combination of things. I'm trying to sum it up. So the one, my younger self, in the beginning of this career is to make sure it's always fun for you, and having fun. Know that opportunities will always find you there. And I hesitate to say mistake because I don't want anybody to think that anything's a mistake because that led me to where I am here, But I I made decisions based upon like what I thought other people wanted me to do or other people's perception of me. I did not trust my own intuition about my own art. I
Mm,
was I looked outside of myself for the approval of how I showed up as an
mm,
artist,
mm,
and that art is a very personal thing. Even though like actors, you know, we are vehicles for the words that a writer writes, and under the vision of the director, each person's contribution is very personal. And so I would tell my younger self and anybody else that even in this space that relies so heavily on validation, like we work depending on somebody else's yes, right?
yeah,
Or we're funded depending on somebody else's yes. At the end of the day, you have to make sure you're saying yes to yourself. You have to make sure that you feel good and you feel satisfied with the way your vessel is being used. I've done some work where I just was not satisfied with the way I allowed myself to be used, which has allowed me to be more intentional about the work I choose now. But if I were mentoring somebody or coaching somebody, I would make sure that they are instilled with that courage and confidence to know that even if it's slow right now, there's just an opportunity that's more in alignment with who you are. Don't make choices based upon oh, I gotta work now. No, because you'll never get satisfied that way. It's almost like abuse. It's abuse of your
Mm-hmm.
art. And it's better for you to just have more patience and get more fulfillment out of more intentional choices
Yeah.
than rush it and out of desperation or fear,
Yeah.
and let yourself be misused or be out of place in environments that don't deserve talent. So that's what I tell my younger self.
Some of the training you've received.
I studied theater at Georgia State University, so we studied method acting, and some other stuff. And then I studied. My favorite instructor in Georgia was Kristen Shaw, and
Oh
she
yeah.
did Strasbourg.
Yeah.
And then she's living a different life now, but she was a fabulous instructor. She was probably my most impactful instructor. I studied at Greg Allen Studios, his mastery program. I stopped by Dwayne Boyd's his professional level improv class. He is an Atlanta staple.
Yeah.
And I had private coaching in Atlanta, and I studied at Identity, which is a London School of Acting in Los Angeles, and I studied with a private coach here. I tend to lean more towards private coaching, just because the way I work is very intense, and so I like that though. Like I like to go in and be relentless and just really work, whether it's an hour, hour and a half, and then go about life. And then another way that this is a little uncanny, but at this stage, I just try to live more life. So I allow myself to be in spaces that keep me curious, and I allow myself to just be a student at all times. And so I'm constantly absorbing life. And I really do feel beyond any acting class, even though I would always suggest it, I would always recommend acting class, that life is always going to be your best teacher. You keep living, you keep feeling,
Yes.
you keep experiencing, you keep observing, and that's the best information that you'll ever get in order to keep creating lives, on stage or on set.
Yes.
So
You are absolutely correct with that. Man, I'm glad you said that. I love your skill set. I mean, I was like looking at your reel, and I'm like, this girl is diverse, And I just wanted to see, what kind of training you received, because you can tell you're seasoned and not afraid. Now, is there a role that you won't play or will not play? Because you've heard, like I've seen videos, even Denzel's like, gotta be careful, about what roles you choose, because it may make or break your career.
yeah.
Is that true for you? Or?
I think that there are roles that I would decline playing. It really now, if we're talking about just based upon the story and the character, I don't do horror. Like there are some things that I don't do. So I got an offer maybe like 4 years ago for a horror film. It was an international horror film, but for me, I'm from the South. Like I got Mississippi and Louisiana roots, so I don't play around with spirituality. Like spirituality is very much important in my life. And when you have a certain level of awareness, and when you conduct your life a certain way as a human being, it doesn't matter if it's a job or not. There's just some things that I won't open up, So my belief is words have power. And so this script maybe had chance or something. I didn't know what it was. So I wouldn't do that, I don't have anything against anybody or even the creators, but but again, it's how your vehicle is being used, how your vessel is being used. So I choose to remain conscious of how I'm being used as a vessel, just because of my awareness and my own practices in my own life,
That's real.
So that. And but as far as range, I have nothing against stories that tell that are sad in nature, maybe depression, because I feel like those stories are important too, because that exists in our world. Happiness exists, but just like trauma exists, and they're all important. And Afrofuturism exists, just like people who are enslaved exist, and they're all worthy. And I believe all those stories deserve to be told. And there's vantage points, even from so-called slave movies, they all deserve a voice. And so I would gladly be a vessel for powerful storytelling. Say I'll be filming in Atlanta soon, you
Really?
know. Yeah, and like yeah, very soon. And then I'll be filming in LA after that very soon. And then I will make announcements. I try to be mindful, while we're in the working
Yeah.
process. There's so much creative energy, going into it. And yeah, I would say that they're powerful projects. I will say that they are the most representative of me as a creator, and also the
Mm.
type of work that I want to do, the way I want to serve, the way I want my art to serve. It's the most representative that I've ever been, the most authentic that I've ever been in my work, and I am the most proud of what is to come. And going forward, this will be the put it this way, the best is yet to come. So I'm really looking forward to the slate of work that's coming out over throughout this year and going forward.
Now I got a deep question for you.
Go ahead.
Do you feel that the industry is fair, unfair when it comes to monetization of Black women?
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't. But here's the thing. So as it stands, is there a pay discrepancy? Yes. Um, is there a difference in, like, I've seen it as an actress. I've seen Black women be at the helm of the ship and not get as much respect as a white person, that's at the helm of the ship, just because of perception and bias. I think that with everything, you get what you allow, right? But also the other part of that is that there is an ingrained system. And so this is just my analysis of the thing, right? If we want something different, then we either have got to collectively say, we have to collectively reestablish, boundaries and foundations of pay, if you could say that, or we have to collectively create an independent system, and where, I mean, because the money is there, the content's there, but we keep giving it away. So we give our content away to Tubi, we let them make their millions, and then now
Mm-hmm.
there's a lot more
Yeah.
scrutiny. We did the same thing with Amazon, so we let people build off of our labor, and then we focus on unfortunately compete with each other, and when people are boxing us out, we double down and box ourselves out. We need more unification, we need more collaboration, we need more high concept creation, we need more fearlessness.
Yeah.
So I think that with that, we can begin to fight the good fight, if you will. But I'm not going to somebody's house and tell them what to do with me. I either have to, I think that we have the ability right now to show how powerful we are.
And not be
and
afraid
and
of that, right?
yeah. So you can show how powerful you are, and that power can translate into monetization, right? And then you give people a choice to create with you, with your terms considered, or you go someplace else. So, and then because we also are dealing with our teams too, it's layered.
Right.
So our teams have to fight for us too. That's also a thing. Sometimes the people that are supposed to be fighting for you and getting that billing higher are not positioning you like they should. So it's a very layered thing, that we're dealing with. But we can change it. We can change it.
Absolutely. How do you want to be remembered?
That's a good question.
How do you want to be? How you want people to see you, you know, as an actress?
As an actress. I believe people will remember me as a great contributor of an art form that resonates with the humanity with people all over the world by helping them feel seen, um, planting seeds that allow them to evolve, planting seeds that allow them to heal, um, and planting seeds that allow them to experience more joy. I aim to show up in a way in my work that strengthens these aspects in humanity. I pray my presence offers that gift to the world. I pray that I serve that way. I pray that everything that I align myself with from this day forward, in serving me, serves everybody else that way. I want little Black girls in Mississippi who have never seen a world outside of their town to look at me and say, the world is so much bigger than what I thought. And I'm just going to go see. I'm going to go see how big it is. I want girls who grew up without a father in their home or with trauma to look at me and hear what I say and say there's something on the other side. So I'm just going to keep going. I'm just going to see. I want people to look at me and think freedom is for them too, because that's all I've been after. I just want to be free, and and the more free I feel, the more freedom I want, and I just keep chasing my freedom, and I hope that my presence unlocks that for whoever is in my presence, whether it be on their TV screen or in my physical presence.
I love that.
So
I love that. You have great energy. It's like you just spoke affirmations into everybody's life that's on here. So.
I think that we all have gifts, and I think that sometimes we run from accepting those gifts that have been given to us because we try to fit into the conditions that the world gives us, or the external perceptions of what everything else says we should be, instead of cultivating from the inside space, you know. And so with that being said, my life experiences have informed such a way that in my getting to the other side of things, I am willing to, I think the way I show up for people just allows them space to go on that journey. Now, I only say healer, maybe because I've just healed myself, not in that I offer work or service for other people, but it's the energy that I embody. That's a more refined way of expressing what I really want to say. I just embody that energy because of my life experience, and I had the choice. I could go toward that healing journey and keep going and see where it ends, or what more there is, or what's on the other side. And it is a never-ending process I'm finding, but it's beautiful. It gets more beautiful, you know, each petal you peel back. Or I could sit still, and nothing is still. Nothing is truly stagnant. Stagnancy actually is deterioration. You know, you only go forward or backwards. So I just chose to go forward. I chose to go through the pain. I chose to feel the sadness. I chose to feel lost. You know, I chose to feel the confusion, and I chose to just feel all of that. And in going through that, I was able to set my path of healing. That allowed me to be a much more potent artist, a much more honest storyteller. And so I chose that word just because it felt the most authentic for me. Love and healing are like two words that resonate deeply with me because it's a way of life that I've chosen.
Yeah.
Right. Well, everybody, we're here on Instagram. So at official Nikki Lashae is my Instagram handle. Nikki Lashae is my Facebook. I'm sure I have a couple other things that I don't know how to use. I think I have a TikTok. If you, I always say like just Google Nikki Lashae because I use my name because I'll forget it if it's anything else. So, so if you have something, oh yeah, I have a YouTube. So if you put like Nikki Lashae, it'll come up. All I use is my name. And yeah, so that's me. And thank you so much for having me on. Thank you for creating this platform for artists to connect with artists. You know, it's very necessary. It's very important for us to
Yeah.
connect this way and
Yes.
information
Yes.
share, you know, and
Yes.
energy
Yes.
share.
Yes.
Very important.
This